So we're starting with shells that you buy in the grocery store. And this is what I mean by conchiglione. You see how big these shells are. And we're going to fill the shells dry and then bake them. So you want to go out and you want to buy yourself some jumbo shells and make sure you're using a good brand of Italian pasta, one made with 100% semolina flour. So the first part of the recipe is a ragu. So in this pan, I'm browning some ground beef in a little bit of olive oil. And when you get it browned, then you want to add some red wine. And please don't go out and buy cooking wines. Any wine that you can drink that you enjoy at home with a meal is a wine that you can cook with. So I'm going to add, about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of wine just to flavor the beef. And that has an absolutely wonderful smell and would be great to drink with this dish. So I want most of that wine to evaporate off. And then with it, we're going to add some prepared tomato sauce. I mean tomato sauce that you've prepared, not tomato sauce in a jar. And this is just plum tomatoes, a little olive oil, garlic, onion if you want it, basil. And you cook that for about 20 minutes and you have a respectable tomato sauce. So a tomato sauce goes in about 1 cup. I want to give this a little bit of salt first. So now the wine is just about gone and we're going to add in the tomato sauce, the prepared sauce. And because we've made the sauce ahead of time and it already has basil and garlic and salt and pepper in it and olive oil, we don't really need to add much else to the ragu. So we're going to let this cook for about 10, 15 minutes, just till this thickens up. So this is the first part of the sauce. So we're going to let that cook. And while that's cooking, in this pot, I've got some butter, 1 stick of unsalted butter. And we're going to make a besciamella, which in Italian is a white sauce, a cream sauce, made with butter and milk and flour. So you heat up butter, one stick of butter for this recipe, and here I have 1/2 cup of unbleached all-purpose flour. So I'm going to put that right in with the butter. And you get yourself a trusty whisk, and you whisk the flour into the butter until it's smooth. You want to make sure that that's not lumpy because you really want to make a nice smooth sauce. So give it a couple good turns with a whisk. And meanwhile, you've got some milk ready that you've either microwaved so that it's warm or you can heat it up in a separate pan. And the reason you want to heat the milk before adding it to the flour and butter mix is because you don't want to bring the temperature down. So if you started with cold milk, you would bring the temperature down to be a little longer for you to make the besciamella. And I think an easier way to do this is to transfer the milk to a large measuring cup like this, heat it in the microwave, and then pour it into your pan. That allows you to keep your stovetop clean. And everybody loves that. So there goes the milk. And now you have to whisk this until it thickens. We're going to give this some salt and a little bit of pepper. You could use white pepper in this as well. So you really want to whisk that until the mixture thickens. Now we're right where it should be, a thickened besciamella. And let me show you what that looks like so that you know what the consistency should be. There, you see, when it just lightly coats a spoon like that, then it's ready. All right, now that you know that, we have to do that combo thing I told you about. So you want to transfer the ragu. Look at how beautiful that is. And that took you 15 minutes to make, maybe, to a bowl. And then you take the besciamella, just like that. So you want to cover it, and it smells absolutely wonderful. Cover it with a piece of plastic wrap, and you refrigerate it. You can do this several hours ahead of time. You could make this the day before. Here is a chilled ragu, just like the one that we just made. Now you see how nice and thick that is. Here are our shells. And then you simply take some of that You put it right into the shell, just like that, you see? So you fill them like that, and remember, I'm filling them raw. The shells are raw. So now I can take these and add them to the pan. You don't want to crowd them too much because you know pasta does expand. So one and one more. Looks good, doesn't it? But we're not done. Because now what we need to do is combine some heavy cream with a little bit of milk, just to thin that down a little bit. You stir that around, and this is what's going to cook these shells. This is the liquid. Instead of boiling these in water, this heavy cream and milk mixture is what is going to make these shells tender. So you pour that all the way around the shells, and then you add some of that fabulous Parmigiano Reggiano right over the top, just like that. Your oven is on at 350 degrees, preheated. You put these in for about 25, 35 minutes. You want to check them, and maybe at the end you just want to take the cover off and let them brown a little bit over the top. Is that a cinch or what?